Hi everyone, and welcome to Algebra 2, lesson 1.6. So in this lesson we are going to continue on with looking how different forms of an equation of a line are written. We've done standard form, we've done slope-intercept form, so what we're going to do today is what's called point-slope form. Alright, so first we're going to do writing a linear equation giving a point and a slope. This is when we use this point-slope formula, because we have a point and we have a slope. So to write a linear equation, given the slope of line M, and a point that passes through an x and a y, we're going to use the point-slope formula. And if you recall, the point-slope formula was y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. And what these x1s and y1s are your actual point that you're referring to, that you're given. All right, so example, number 1. We are given this point, -1, 7, and a slope of -4. So when we look at our formula, y equals y1 equals m times x minus x1, all we're going to do is substitute. We have a y1, which is 7. So y minus 7 equals m, which is -4, times x minus x1, which in this case is -1. And what does a -1 become? Well, that becomes a +1. Okay, so now that we have it, we can go ahead and we are going to turn this, ideally, into slope-intercept form, which is that y equals mx plus b. Right now it's in point-slope form, but we need to go ahead and simplify this a little more. So what we'll do is we're going to go ahead and first start by distributing that -4. So I get to y minus 7 equals -4x minus 4. Now we have to get y by itself, because you notice, right, y is by itself. We did that last lesson. So it gets me y equals -4x plus 3. And just like that, we are done. Remember, we're going to do the evens in class, but you can go ahead and try that if you want. All right. Next, we have writing linear equations given 2 points. So if we're given 2 points, we can find the slope, right? So to write linear equations given by 2 points, x1 and y1 and x2 and y2, use the slope formula followed by the point-slope formula. So if you recall, our slope formula was y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And then we can put it into our point-slope formula, which is what we just talked about. So let's go ahead and see an example. Right, so we saw that. We'll go ahead and put this down here so we can see it again. All right, so there's your point-slope formula again. All right, so we have the points -6, 1 and -3, 7. So what we have to do is we have to find the slope, because we have points for this point-slope, but we're missing the slope. So to find that, we put it into our point-slope formula. So that means we have technically, I guess we have 7 minus 1 over -3 minus a -6. So it would be 6. And -3 plus 6 would get us +3. So that gives us a slope of 2. So that is our m, right? So m equals 2. And we can take either one of these points and use it in our point-slope formula. When we use it in our point-slope formula, which is that y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1, we have y minus 1, because there is our y right there, equals m, which is 2, times x minus, well, in this case, it's a -6, so it gets +6, because negative is positive. Now we can distribute this, getting us y minus 1 equals 2x plus 12. And when we add 1 to both sides, we get y equals 2x plus 13. All right, we'll try it again for number 5. Let's go find the slope over here. Right, so our slope m is going to equal -5 minus negative 8. Doesn't matter which y's you do, you just have to go in order. 5, negative 8, 10, minus 1. So m, negative 5 plus 8 gives us 3 over 9. So that means our slope is going to be 1/3. So when we go and we use like this point here, we can go ahead and put this in point slope formula. Y minus negative 5 equals our slope, which is 1/3, times x minus 10. We're going to distribute this. Y plus 5, let's simplify that. 1/3 x minus 10/3. So now we have to add, subtract 5 from both sides. Now let's go down here, right? We have a negative 10/3 minus 5. That's 5 over 1, right? We have to find a common denominator. So that's going to be negative 15 over 3, which gets us a negative 25/3. So these cancel out, giving us y equals 1/3 x minus 25/3. And that is our answer. All right, linear equation applications, or everyone's favorite kind of problems, word problems. So I'll do 7a, you do 7b. A cab ride costs $4 plus $1.75 per mile driven. Right, that's a normal, you get in a cab, they charge you to walk in the door, sit down, $4. Then every mile they drive, they're going to add $1.75 for every mile. So write an equation to represent the cab fare, and we're going to define our variables, meaning what letters mean what. So we know that what we're trying to figure out, right, we can use C for cab fare. That makes sense, right? So C is our cab fare. And the only other variable, right, that we're doing is our miles. We don't know how many miles there are. So we know in the end we're going to have to pay something, which is our cab fare, and we know it's based on how many miles we drive. So our cab fare is going to equal what? Well, we know that we're going to pay $1.75 for every mile. And what else do we have to pay? Well, you got to pay $4 when you step in the cab. So if you go ahead and look at it, this is what we have here. Our cab fare equals $1.75 times the number of miles plus $4. All right, you see if it's true for B. All right, number 8, you work on that. I'll tell you what. Yeah, you work on number 8 yourself. We'll do number 9. So number 9, a 22.5 ounce candle burns at the rate of 1 ounce for every 5 hours. Write an equation to represent the amount of candle left. Define your variables. So what are we trying to find? We're trying to find the amount of candle that's left. So we can call that C, right, for candle. So that's our candle that's left. And what is the other variable? It's going to be hours, right? We need to know time. Right, because it burns for every 5 hours. So our other variable is going to be H for hours. All right, so we know that our candle, right, is 22.5 ounces. Now, 1 ounce for every hour, every 5 hours. So that means every hour, correct? Wouldn't that be 1/5 if H is hours? So we know we're starting off at 22.5, and we're going to minus 1/5 ounce for every hour. Okay, when you think about it, right? This was 1 ounce equal, right, for every 5 hours. So all we're doing pretty much here is just dividing by 5. And see how it's 1/5 equals H now, where these are the ounces? because these both 22.5 and 1/5 are in ounces. All right, so why don't you figure out how long that candle will last? Actually, you know what? I'll do it with you. How many hours will the candle last? Well, we know that we started with 20, we have 22.5, right? Because that's our C. And that's going to equal 1/5 an ounce per hour. So if we go ahead and we multiply by 5, we're going to get 112.5 hours. So this candle will last 112.5 hours. All right. All right, number 11. Kaylee has a collection of quarters and nickels. Write an equation to represent the total value of the coins. Define your variables. Well, we're talking about quarters and nickels. So what could possibly be quarters? How about Q? Right, that's going to be our quarters. We can have N, which equals nickels, and T will be our total, right? Total value. Right? If you wanted to, we can even use a dollar sign. Let's use a dollar sign for that, okay? That's our variable, is a dollar sign. So we know that for every quarter, it's equal to 25 cents. So 0.25 Q, right? Every 25 cents times the number of quarters. Plus, what is a nickel worth, right? That's 5 cents. So every 5 cents, we're going to multiply it by the number of nickels. And that's going to equal our value. So if the total value of coins is $5.50 and Kaylee has 17 quarters, how many nickels does she have? So we know that our value, right, this dollar sign, we know that that is $5.50. What don't we know? How many nickels? So we know that this still looks like this. But what about quarters? We know we have 17 quarters. So we know that a quarter is 25 cents, in this case times 17, right? So Q equals 17, and our dollar sign equals 550 in case we missed that. So now we have to do 17 times 25, which gives us 425 plus 0.05 N equals 550. Now we just solve it like a normal equation. So now we have 0.05 N equals $1.25, and we divide by 0.05. So that means N equals 25. So the answer is 25 nickels. All right? And then finally you have number 12, which we'll go over in class. All right, so this was a nice short video. Once again, in class, we'll go over the even ones. If you have any questions, I will see you then.